Hey guys, we're getting ready to finish up Mark chapter 12. And if you remember in yesterday's reading, Jesus had really exposed the hard hearts and the narrow-mindedness of the scribes with one single question, something they refused to answer. Even though he had endured an entire day full of their questions and answered every single one of them. But in today's reading, you're going to see this big contrast between these scribes who should have really had the corner on religion and fell short with every test, and this widow who really puts on display what true religion looks like. So let's begin in verse 38. Then he said to them in his teaching, "Beware the scribes who desire to go around in long robes, love greetings in the marketplaces, the best seats in the synagogues, and the best places at feasts, who devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. These will receive greater condemnation." When these scribes wore these long, fancy robes with the tassels on it, what they were saying was, "Look at me." They wanted people to stop and go, "Wow, that's a scribe." And when they expected those greetings in the marketplaces, they were saying, "Talk to me." When they were taking the best seats at the feast and the banquets, they were saying, "Honor me." When they were devouring widows' homes, they were saying, "Give to me." And when they said these long, loud prayers on the street corners, they were saying, "Listen to me. Hear how religious I am. See how eloquently I speak these prayers." And so it was me. It was a me-centered religion, a self-centered focus. But then we have the contrast with these men to this widow who is selfless, who is sacrificing all that she has. Let's take a look at it. Begin in verse 41. Now Jesus sat opposite of the treasury and saw how the people put money into the treasury. And many who were rich put in much. But then one poor widow came and threw in 2 mites, which makes a quadrans. And he called his disciples to himself and said to them, "Assuredly I say to you that this widow has put in more than all those who have given to the treasury. For they all put in out of their abundance. But she out of her poverty put in all that she had, her whole livelihood." Look at this widow. She's a giver, not a taker. She's not me-focused. She's God-focused. I used to read this story and think this was more of a commendation of this widow, but the more I study it, the more I think this is actually a condemnation of the scribes. In the previous section, it says they devoured widows' houses, and immediately following, it talks about a poor widow. Devouring widows' houses it's like a preacher getting up in the pulpit saying, "You guys need to give more." No, you need to give all that you have. And there's this woman in the audience that doesn't have much to give. She's been coerced into giving things that she can't give. And so Jesus says that she gave out of all her poverty and put in all that she had, her whole livelihood. But it makes you wonder, once she left the temple, how does she live? What does she have to live on? What does she have to eat? Hopefully there was somebody out there that could take care of her. But Jesus is still commending this woman. He's in awe of her sacrifice. That she's not rebelling against the oppression that she's under. She's not thinking, "Boy, these people are really making my life hard." She's more thinking, I love God. And I'm willing to give God everything that I have to give. And so Jesus is commending her sacrifice, not the size of her offering. Percentage-wise, she gave more than everybody else. That idea of giving her whole livelihood, it's more than just giving possessions. It's giving your possessions that you live on. She gave her whole life to Jesus. I guess the question is, how about us? Are we more me-focused in our religion? Are we more about sacrifice? That's a challenge for all of us.